to show Kathy hanging out with Jay-Z as well as Diddy. Now, Liz Crokin is a popular journalist and conspiracy theorist who I've come across before, and she began to dig into Kathy White's connection to Jay-Z. This is back in 2010, so imagine Beyonce and Jay-Z married in 2008, and then Liz hears a story about a possible affair that he's having. Liz said, "My boss asked me to look into an online blog report claiming that a woman named Kathy White, who her friends call Corey, was having an affair with Jay-Z." Liz actually reached out to Kathy, and at that point, Kathy expressed that she would consider going public with her story. Liz wrote in 2011, I was the reporter that Jay-Z's alleged mistress, Kathy White, was going to do an interview with and go public. A few days later, she was found dead. I believe that she was murdered and that
alleging that he, back in the early 2000s, raped a 13. So we had one more story we wanted to add in here that broke yesterday evening, and this is what I talked about before. So Jay-Z has been hit with a civil lawsuit alleging that he, back in the early 2000s, raped a 13-year-old girl at a party. You can put this tear sheet up on the screen from NBC News. I'll just go ahead and say up front, he denies the charges, the allegations here. We'll read you the statement from his team here in just a second. In any case, this says the star rapper and entrepreneur, his real name is Sean Carter, was accused in a lawsuit Sunday of raping a 13-year-old girl in 2000, allegedly alongside Sean Diddy Combs. The accuser is anonymous, identified only as Jane Doe. She says the assault happened after she was driven to an MTV Video Music Awards after party. Basically, what she alleges here is that she was trying to get into this after party. Someone saw her and was like, "Oh, I think that you're Diddy's type." Got her into this party, again, she's at the age of 13. She arrives, she sees lots of drugs, including cocaine and marijuana being consumed. She has a drink. She starts feeling woozy, feels like she needs to lay down, and next thing she knows, allegedly is being raped by Diddy and Jay-Z, and another female was also in the room who has, as of yet, been unnamed. Again, this is
she don't play that funk. Say she left her person nature. You know, on a plate. A 22-year-old man named Timothy Leaks is reportedly facing felony murder charges in connection with the death of King Von. Police say the rapper was shot after an argument broke out between two groups of men in the parking lot of a lounge in Atlanta, and the argument escalated into gunfire between the groups. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation says two off-duty Atlanta police officers were working a second security job nearby and responded to the shooting along with one APD officer who was on duty. One on-duty and one off-duty officer fired their weapons. In all, 6 men were shot during the altercation. The APD says they're aware of rumors speculating Vaughn was killed by police and say investigators believe Vaughn was killed before officers even arrived to that scene. Atlanta police and the GBI are still investigating. Vaughn, whose real name was Davon Bennett, was killed, along with one other man, 34-year-old Mark Blakely, who was also from Chicago. Vaughn grew up with rapper Lil Durk in Chicago and was signed to his label. Vaughn had just released his debut album, Welcome to O-Block, in October. King Von was 26 years old. This is Inside Edition Digital.
Montgomery has been trending on social media after rebuking Christians for going to Beyonce's concerts. In the video posted to her Instagram page, Montgomery said, "Any of you who are going to Beyonce's concert, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. How dare you call yourself a Christian? I don't care what your pastor got, what pastor you got that is okay with it." Now, social media was quick to bring up her tweets from 2012 and 2014, in which she attended Jay-Z and Beyonce's concert and praised the superstars for her gospel hits. Now, once Montgomery caught wind of her resurfaced tweets, she replied, "I got saved in 2015. Those bleep tweets I wrote was in 2012 and 2014. I used to love Beyonce and Jay-Z, and I was definitely not saved and hated the church." Selena, we're going to start with you. What are your thoughts on Tiffany rebuking Christians for simply supporting Beyonce?
You know, Claudia, this is... You know, Queens, this is the story of old. As a secular artist, we have all been targets at one point in time about our content. But because Beyonce is such a superstar and has such a huge platform, what I would like to see, my opinion is going to pretty much be all of the opinions of you all on this panel. But I'm a secular artist. What I would like to see is some of our pastor leaders, some of our prominent pastors in the community step out in her defense. That's what needs to happen. Because if you don't do it, then you agree. So I need the T.D. Jakes. I need the Kirk Franklins. I need the John Grays. I need all of the people who love Beyonce, who are constantly praising Beyonce, who go to her concerts, who love on her. I need you guys to speak on it and bring some clarity and not really, you don't have to take sides or anything I'm saying or anything like that. But I do think that the Christian community, our Christian community leaders, need to speak up about this, because that's the only way that you can debunk this foolishness. I think the way that she's coming is, I don't think it's with love. And first thing of being a Christian is love.
That's right.
And wrath comes from God. God said, vengeance is mine. It's not a person's to have vengeance. It's God's vengeance. So.
Well said, Vivica. Tiffany, you cloud chasing heifer. There you go. Lisa Ray, way 100. How dare you? You know, girl, you trying to get attention, but you was at the concert less than 5-6 years ago. So, you know, girl, bye. Put that where? Back there. That's right. And last but not least, Lisa Ray.
Too stiff and stuck up. I don't even know what part she talking about, the dancing or the gyrating or the lyrics or the rhythm. Forget her.
I would just say that I think people in the church we have bigger fish to fry. We may be on the verge of a war. There's poverty, there's disease, there's sadness and mental health issues, and you're worried about people going to a Beyonce concert? Girl, bye. All right, thanks to AJ Johnson for hanging out with us. We love her.
Sir, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. How dare you call yourself a Christian? I don't care what pastor you got that is okay with it. I don't care what pastor you got that think it's cool. I don't care what pastor you got that's singing along to their song, because they want some clout. Why you think that man called himself Jehovah? It was short for Jehovah. When a witch has a coven, it's normally a small thing. Witches' covens are normally 3 to 7 people. When it becomes thousands, it's called a hive. Y'all are part of that lady beehive? And you call yourself a Christian? May the dealings of the Lord come upon you. You think this is small stuff. You think you're not going to...
I spent probably a week doing research on all doing black magic. Now here's what I'm gonna say. Everybody ain't lying. I spent probably a week doing research on all the people that they were connected with, and all of them are connected to some sort of black magic, some sort of witchery.
Not Beyonce going back to that demonic voodoo mess just so she can help her and Jay-Z to get out of all the dark things they allegedly did with Diddy. Beyonce was already exposed for doing witchcraft on folks and allegedly even keeping dead bodies in her house for her rituals. But baby, the receipts of those allegations are finally getting exposed by her nanny, and it's even worse than we thought. Not only that, but word on the street is Jay-Z is getting seriously broke, and Bey is the one keeping him from losing his billionaire status. No wonder he has her out here touring back to back with a broken knee and popping out different businesses at the speed of light.
He put in the lawsuit, Jay-Z, that he was facing financial hardship, saying that he was not able to get business loans that he needed for his business and personal life because of these lawsuits. They've caused reputational harm, and banks denied him, even though he couldn't get loans before to save Roc Nation. And so he had to resort to a PPP loan to save Roc Nation. And how is it that a billionaire can't go into his own stash and allow his business to borrow money from him to save his business? Why does he have to run to the government to save him?
The rumors about Bey's alleged witchcraft have been a thing since she started in the industry, but it got mainstream attention when her ex-drummer Kimberly Thompson, who had been on several tours with her for years, suddenly quit her job in the middle of the On the Run 2 tour and accused Beyonce of using extreme witchcraft behind the scenes. She said when she finally quit the tour, Beyonce allegedly sent people to harass her to make sure she didn't come running to the internet. Things got so bad that she filed a restraining order against Beyonce because she was scared for her life.
Guys, I cannot make this
this stuff up. Beyonce's ex-drummer of 7 years, she is seeking a restraining order against Beyonce. She's accusing her of dark magic, witchcraft, tapping into her phone bill, and basically controlling her finances, her. She's saying the Beyonce camp is put up a huge harassment campaign against her, and it's overall witchcraft. She sought a restraining order in the past. It got denied, and she has another one scheduled for October 11th, but the internet is just like, what? Excuse me? And, I was just at the Beyonce concert last week in Houston. It was definitely a religious experience.
The girl cats. A girl went to court and charged her with extreme witchcraft. She was hypnotized. She was bugged. Beyonce came and she was in there eating on her while she was asleep, snacking on his people cats. And guess what? They wouldn't give her a restraining order. They just told her to stay away from Beyonce and work for somebody else. Guess what? She's having a hard time finding work too, which is interesting because she's a brilliant musician. She was trained at the esteemed Berklee College of Music, handpicked by my very good friend, Terry Lynn Carrington. Dr. Terry Lynn Carrington, who put together Beyonce's entire female band.
Kimberly kept quiet for years after this because people were calling her crazy and even pulling up to her home to leave hate letters. However, just a few months ago, she finally decided to speak on this situation again. And baby, she had a whole lot to say. She said she regrets ever working for Beyonce because ever since she exposed everything, she hasn't been able to find work in the industry. She even accused Beyonce's sister Solange of also being in on the demonic stuff.
I definitely did that to definitely be so clear to cut the cord that I don't want to have anything to do with this person at all. I don't want to work with them. I'm even embarrassed that I have worked with them because it's literally shattered everything that I've tried to build after doing that work in my life. So if I have always said when I was a kid, I never would want to regret anything, but this I regret. I regret that we ever worked together because it's turned my life completely upside down. She's not been able to let me go. She's not been able to let me progress into a mature woman and work with other people, build other great entities and statues and trophies that develop in the arts world and music. She's just been a savage, stealing my intellectual property, stealing my ideas, just basically doing anything and everything to damage any type of happiness that I could have had up to current. That be in my own independent career, establishing my own company, my own music, relationships, whether it be business partnerships, personal relationships. So I've had to do a lot of work, a lot of practice of self-love. I know that I was that kid that grew up and always did the right things and always studied really hard and always did a lot for whoever I was working for and the company. And, that time has come and passed over and over again. And it's just been a nightmare to try to move on and do other things for other people without it getting totally destroyed. The other people I've worked with that have been on a plateau have been paid to fire me. I found this out, and then it just kept happening. So it was a pattern. You're really excited about something, you build it up.
Everyone was quick to believe Kimberly, especially after she brought up Solange, because not too long ago when Nicki Minaj was online acting up and dragging Jay and Beyonce, Solange stepped into the chat to allegedly do some witchcraft on Nicki. At least, that's what people were saying. So basically, while Nicki was in the middle of her rant, Solange jumped on Instagram to post these demons to idols she was worshipping. Because of the timing of her post, people accused her of posting this to hint at Nicki that if she didn't stop speaking on her family, she was going to summon her idols and place some irreversible curses on her. And Nicki definitely got the memo, because right after this post, she stopped talking. These rumors were fueled by the popular tea blogger Storm Monroe, who accused Beyonce of being a Hollywood high priestess. He said Beyonce has strong ties to a demonic deity called Oshun, and apparently this deity is one of the most powerful ones there is. He said Madonna used to be the highest-ranking witch in Hollywood, and she still holds a high place there, but Beyonce is currently the top-standing queen, and that's why the industry gives her so much grace. But people believe that all those awards they give her come at the cost of her children, especially Rumi and Sir. Yup, Storm was basically alleging that the reason why Rumi and Sir are not sharp as blue and because Beyonce allegedly used them as a sacrifice.
As you know, Beyonce is a witch. She's a very powerful witch. She's heavy into African spirituality. She is a daughter of, I believe, either a daughter of Oshun or Yemaya. I go back and forth. I feel like it's Oshun though, but if I got it wrong, I got it wrong. But nonetheless, she's a high-ranking witch. Okay? How many people have come out and said, hey, shit, if I can't start dying, Beyonce did this to me. I saw Beyonce do that. Like, this is nothing new, okay? But you got to understand, when it comes to Illuminati, to this industry, one person replaces the other. Madonna's old. Madonna is almost done. And Madonna is a very high-ranking witch. She is a high priestess. That's just pretty much what it is. Well, of course, the main thing Madonna practices is Kabbalah, but then there's different versions of Kabbalah, just like there's different versions of African spirituality. But then I also believe that in addition to African spirituality, I do believe that Beyonce is into dark magic and black magic as well, her and Jay-Z. And we're just going to leave it at that.
Once Storm put this out there, people obviously started doing their own digging to see if there's any history of Bey doing things like this, and there was. In fact, Bey herself was the one who seemingly started these rumors when she introduced her infamous Sasha Fierce alter ego. She revealed that every time she used the alter ego, she felt possessed. Beyonce claims she only calls that alter ego to take over whenever needs to perform because she is naturally a shy person and cannot perform without Sasha Fierce taking full control of her body. She said, right before I performed for the BET Awards, I raised my hands up and it was the first time I felt something else come into me. I knew that was going to be my coming out night at the award show. And just recently, when we thought things couldn't get any worse, one of Beyonce's former dancers, Khadijah Shari, came out to accuse Beyonce of allegedly paying people to come and kidnap her kid and SA her. Apparently, this was Khadijah's punishment for not staying with Beyonce after finding out after the alleged witchcraft. Are you serious? You called for my child to be SAD, you evil witch. At Essence, check on my child. I'm about to blow this through the roof. Beyonce, you went too far. You gotta be kidding me. I'm the child you offed to be a star. You forgot? You were only supposed to be a star on the tree. Giving orders of takeouts never went with your stardom. When it was happening to me, I kept my mouth shut for my career, not with my goddaughter. I'll blow your world up. Hashtag Destiny's Child. Hashtag Really Gigaman. Oh, but it doesn't stop there. Last year when Jaguar Wright did that heated interview with Piers Morgan that had Beyonce and Jay-Z sending out lawsuits threats, she also seemingly accused Beyonce of doing witchcraft in her house. She accused Beyonce and Jay-Z of allegedly keeping the remains of the people they supposedly unalive in their house, and then using those remains for their rituals.
Well, because the Me Too movement was a ruse. It was a setup. It was a scam. I'm saying that now, publicly. Dream Hampton spearheaded the Surviving R. Kelly campaign, which fueled the Me Too campaign. And that was all funded by Sean Carter to make sure that Robert Kelly went to jail. Get his lick back. Why is nobody understanding that Dream Hampton was being financed and ran by Sean Carter? They were able to go and get all of these witnesses because he was there with Robert Kelly. How does Jay-Z sit down with Gayle King and she not ask him one question about the intersection between him and Aaliyah and Robert Kelly? This is insane that people keep refusing to see what's right there. If the Me Too movement were real, why aren't they speaking now? They've also been very quiet in this time of the diddler's downfall.
Jaguar,
yes, they're on vacation.
If this goes to court, Jaguar, do you think the world is going to be shocked by what comes out?
Oh, absolutely. I just don't know why they are. It's been happening in front of everyone's faces for decades. For decades.
How many victims?
What's the difference between me and Judy Garland? Social media.
How many victims?
There was none for her.
How many victims potentially do you think there could be?
Thousands. I've talked to hundreds that I deal with still myself. I have 3 victims right now who are willing to give testimony about not only what Mr. Carter has done to them, but his wife as well. They're a nasty little couple. They do nasty things.
What do you think happened with Kim
Keeping people against their will. Putting people on planes while they're unconscious, just like Aaliyah got on that plane. Unconscious. There's a lot of things that people don't want to talk about. Pierce.
But get this, y'all. Word on the street is Jaguar got all this tea about Beyonce and Jay's alleged victims in their house from Beyonce's former nanny. The identity of this nanny hasn't been disclosed, but word on the street is that she worked for B and Jay when the twins were born, but quit after witnessing the demonic mess. When she saw Jaguar going in on them, she ran to Jaguar to tell her what she knew because she knew Jaguar was brave enough to come out and say it. Apparently, the nanny didn't want to spill all this tea directly because she doesn't want to end up blackballed like the ex-drummer and dancer. One person said, Solange already exposed herself for practicing witchcraft and people still think those women are lying? Pathetic. It's time to start using common sense, folks. Another person said, initially I thought these allegations are crazy, but then I'm not surprised anymore because Beyonce did say in order for her mom to have her, her grandmother would burn candles. But now I want to know your thoughts. What do you think about Beyonce allegedly